With April being a month filled with not the greatest news for the market, I think it's safe to assume that the majority of us experience more losses than gains. So the idea of dividend stocks out there being a lot cheaper isn't necessarily breaking news right now. But in this video, I'm going to give you 3 different dividend stocks you guys should consider checking out for the month of May, considering the fact that they may still hold some value despite the fact that the stock price for each of these positions has decreased. And we're going to start with a company that I talked about last month on this type of video. It's probably the only place where you can get olive oil in your coffee. Starbucks is definitely the most popular coffee company in the entire world. They have been for some time now, gathering about 10 million customers per day as of 2 years ago. However, since then, they have had issues with overseas locations letting go of employees after boycotts, and more recently, they announced Q2 earnings falling shorter than estimates in same-store sales growth. That alone resulted in a huge drop in the past month. It also supported an almost 30% drop for the entire year, including an almost 20% drop for the last month, putting it only dollars away from its 52-week low. Even with that, I feel like this is a temporary situation that Starbucks will overcome in the long term. And with that, I think this is the perfect time to take advantage of its long-term growth and dividend history. Aside from Starbucks having a 10-year share price growth of over 100%, it has a pretty impressive dividend yield that's part of a 9.78% 5-year growth rate. And with a 13-year dividend payout history, that should be a comfortable long-term play for passive income at a discounted price that should hopefully increase in the future. CVS is one of the few more popular pharmacy companies in the US. They also sell food and other everyday supplies. They're also unfortunately known for their ridiculously long receipts. If you haven't experienced that yet, go to a CVS, buy some candy or a pack of gum, and you'll find out. Within CVS is another company called CVS Health. They provide prescription, medical, health, and wellness products. CVS Health did not have the best April. For one, they announced that they wouldn't be receiving as much revenue from COVID vaccination, and from a humane perspective, that's always great, but from a financial perspective for them, not so much. And for at least the second year in a row, they have lowered their EPS or earnings per share expectations. That news definitely did not sit well with shareholders, resulting in a 15% drop in share price, already being a part of their almost 9% drop in the past year. There are people I know that use CVS Health and they really stand by it, so I do believe that they do have a long-term prescriber fan base, and that's something that should hopefully keep them afloat. This should also hopefully help the company as a whole recover in its share price in the future. But in the meantime, this is yet another position that you should take advantage of for its growth and dividend payouts. They have an almost 4% dividend yield, and what's most impressive to me is the fact that they've consistently paid their shareholders every quarter for the past 26 years. And what's really interesting is that CVS is actually not the only healthcare related company that's taken a hit in this past year. Humana is a medical insurance provider that's actually the second largest Medicare provider in the US. Their contract with the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services is really significant, especially considering that as of 2024, 33.4 million people are enrolled in Medicare. However, Medicare is also a reason why Humana's stock price hasn't been doing the greatest. Recently, there was an announcement that Medicare Advantage payments would only increase by an average of 3.7%, which expectations were that they would increase by 4.7% for the year. This may have to do with the expectation of an increased number of retirees going to the doctor to do more surgeries and other procedures that they may have not had a chance to do during and immediately after COVID. That news resulted in a 1-month drop of almost 13%, being part of a 43% drop over the past year, most of it taking place in the past 6 months. But just like CVS and Starbucks, there's still a lot of opportunity to take advantage of a company that's a little over $30 away from its 52-week low and over $200 away from its 52-week high. As far as its dividend situation goes, it gives me more Apple, maybe even Nvidia vibes, because it does have a dividend yield, but it should be looked at more for its stock growth history. But even then, I do like the fact that it has a 5-year dividend average growth rate of about 11%. So for long-term holders, that is pretty promising. The one thing I am, however, concerned about when it comes to Humana is that when I looked at its finances between 2019 and now, its revenue has increased increased. However, its net income had decreased during that same period of time. I don't know the reason of that at the moment, but that's just something that I and anybody that wants to invest into this company should keep in mind. Out of all these three different positions, Humana is the only one that I actually do not have in my portfolio, but it might be one I can add in the future. It could play a major role in the long term when it comes to its share price growth and a little bit of dividend assistance. Speaking of portfolio assistance, I actually talk about how my portfolio did for the month of April in this video with the current stocks and ETFs that I have, including how much I made, what I sold, what I bought, and everything in between. So make sure you guys check that video out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, as always, take care.